Do you ever log into your brokerage app, stare at the total, and wonder if your cash is actually working for you or if it's just taking a nap? You are not the only one. Get comfortable, because today we are going to expose the brutal truth about those early, agonizing months and years where your wealth seems frozen in time, and why the vast majority of investors throw in the towel right before the explosion happens. My name is Dave, and I help normal people decode the reality of money so they can stop guessing and start building. If you are sick of watching your net worth move slower than a dial-up connection in a basement, smash that subscribe button and hit the like to help us spread this message. Here is a statistic that might make your jaw drop. Roughly 87% of the total growth you will ever see in your lifetime happens in the final chapters of your investing story. Let that sink in. Nearly 9 out of every $10 you will ever accumulate arrives when you are practically at the finish line. The first decade? That is essentially an initiation fee you pay to the universe, proving you have the grit to wait for the reward. This is exactly why people quit. They begin the journey, watch their portfolio crawl along like a sloth in quicksand, and quietly conclude that this whole financial freedom concept is a myth. They aren't wrong about the slow start, but they are dead wrong about quitting. Let me introduce you to Alex. Alex works a standard 9-to-5 in logistics, staring at spreadsheets, earning about $50,000 a year gross. By the time taxes, insurance, and the rest of the deductions vanish, Alex sees about $3,000 land in the bank every month. Rent eats $1,200 immediately. Groceries, gas, data plans, and just staying alive consume another $1,500. On a good month, Alex has maybe $200 or $300 left over, drifting around in the checking account. If this sounds familiar, stay tuned, because Alex does not inherit a fortune or get lucky with a meme coin. The only thing that shifts is how Alex handles the excruciatingly dull phase of wealth creation. On a gloomy Tuesday, Alex decides to stop doom scrolling and actually do something for the future. Alex opens a brokerage account, staring at the screen like it's a cockpit of a spaceship. After binge-watching dozens of tutorials and reading confusing blogs, Alex makes a choice that seems almost laughably small. Alex sets up an auto transfer of $100 on the first of the month. Not to show off, not because some guru said so, but because losing $100 won't cause a mental breakdown over rent. Here is what unfolds next, and this is the specific trap that crushes spirits. Month 1 passes, and Alex checks the app with high hopes. The balance is $103. The market wiggled, and the profit is enough to buy a bad cup of coffee. By month 2, the total invested is $200. The news is screaming about a recession, inflation is up, and the world is ending. The account balance jitters between $195 and $210. Alex starts thinking that maybe that money would have been better spent on a nice dinner. Month 3 arrives, and the trend is identical. The balance sits around $312. Up a few dollars one day, down a few the next. The emotional payoff is about as exciting as watching grass grow in a drought. This is what I call the ghost phase, and it is the graveyard of financial dreams. The math is actually functioning perfectly. Compound interest is working in the shadows like a silent partner. You just cannot see the results yet because, quite frankly, the pile is too small to matter. Most folks hit this wall and assume they are failing. They cancel the transfer, telling themselves they will resume when they are richer. They are basically walking out of the gym after 2 sessions because they don't look like an Olympian yet. But Alex makes one tiny mental adjustment that saves the mission. Alex decides that for the first 12 months, the investment account is not an asset. It is a bill. Just like the electric bill or the internet subscription. The cash leaves, and Alex refuses to care about the outcome. This sounds trivial, but it is a game changer. Most rookies treat their portfolio like a slot machine they need to watch. They check it daily, riding the highs and suffering the lows. It drains your willpower. Around month 6, a small milestone hits. Alex's account breaks $500. It is not freedom money. It is barely emergency money. But for Alex, it is the first time a line on a graph has consistently moved up, even if it feels like it is moving through molasses. Then, month 7 brings a test that would have broken the old Alex. The car makes that terrifying grinding noise. The mechanic wipes his greasy hands and drops the bomb. $650 for a new alternator and belt. The old Alex would have panicked, drained the investment account, and abandoned the plan. But something has rewired in Alex's brain. Instead of seeing that $650 as spending money, Alex views it as the foundation of a fortress. This is the anchor phase of wealth. Alex has stopped identifying as a consumer who spends every penny and started identifying as an investor who pays the future first. Alex picks up a couple of overtime shifts, sells some old clothes online, and pays the mechanic without touching the Freedom Fund. The catch that nobody warns you about is this. Early deposits feel useless now, but are heroic later. It is like pouring concrete for a skyscraper. You dig and pour for months, and all you have is a hole in the ground. Then, suddenly, the building rises. By the end of year 1, Alex has moved $1,200 into the market. Thanks to dividends and normal drift, the account sits at $1,275. A profit of $75 for a year of sacrifice. A friend would laugh and say, "Why didn't you just buy a video game console?" But this is where compounding switches from math to mindset. Alex isn't just stacking cash. Alex is stacking discipline. Alex is learning to think in timelines of decades, not weekends, and to remain cool when the headlines scream crash. In year 2, Alex does something incredibly boring but infinitely powerful. Alex does not double the contribution because the budget is tight. Instead, whenever a small raise comes or a bonus lands, Alex bumps the monthly auto draft by $10 or $15. By the end of year 2, the monthly seed has grown from $100 to $125. That tiny adjustment does more for Alex's retirement than trying to pick the next hot tech stock. It is the financial version of adding 5 pounds to your bench press. It feels light today, but over time, you become a beast. By month 24, Alex has invested about $2,700 out of pocket. With market rallies and dividends reinvesting themselves, the balance is hovering near $3,050. The gain is only about $350. It still looks modest, but a shift has occurred. The gap between money deposited and current value is no longer a rounding error. It is starting to look like the money has a part-time job. This is the momentum phase, where the portfolio stops feeling like a drain and starts feeling like a teammate. Around this time, Alex has an epiphany. Alex isn't reading complex charts or following day traders. Alex just notices a change in lifestyle. For the first time, there is no panic before payday. The salary hasn't doubled, but Alex has trained the brain to live on less than the total income. That psychological gap is more valuable than any stock pick. When friends complain about being broke on Monday morning, Alex realizes he hasn't checked his bank balance in weeks because he knows the cushion is there. This is where standard advice fails. Everyone talks about the ROI and the percentages, but the real magic is the behavior modification. Alex has reprogrammed the default setting from spend to build. Now the plot thickens. And by thickens, I mean it gets boring enough to make you rich. Alex keeps nudging that monthly number up. $125 becomes $140, then $160. A tax refund arrives, and instead of blowing it on a weekend trip, Alex throws an extra $300 into the pot. Alex isn't suffering. Alex still grabs tacos with friends and buys new sneakers, but the spending is conscious, not compulsive. Every dollar faces a trial. Do I need this junk, or does my future self need freedom? Jump to year 5. Alex is 32, a bit more senior at work, earning maybe $57,000. The monthly contribution is up to $190, just steady, quiet increases. The total invested over 5 years is roughly $10,000. The account value? Just under $13,000. Only about $3,000 is pure profit. Most people would look at 5 years of effort for a $3,000 gain and feel cheated. But compound interest is just finishing its warm-up stretches. What Alex doesn't see yet is the mathematical reality. The dollars from year 1 have been multiplying for 5 years. They are doing the heavy lifting so the new dollars don't have to. It is the difference between pushing a car from a dead stop versus keeping it rolling at 60 miles per hour. This brings us to the moment that nobody is emotionally ready for. The point where the curve goes vertical. Around year 8 or 9, the graph stops being polite and starts aiming for the moon. Alex has been consistent for nearly a decade. Total contributions might be $18,000, but the account is sitting at $26,000. That gap is now an entire used car. It is 6 months of survival expenses. It is the kind of safety net that changes your posture in a meeting. But here's the twist. The math didn't change. The market didn't suddenly become charitable. Alex just crossed the crossover point. This is the magical threshold where the annual growth of the portfolio exceeds the annual cash Alex puts in. In a good year, the account might jump by $5,000, while Alex only added $3,000 from the paycheck. Alex wakes up, checks the app, and realizes his money earned more last year than he saved. That is the moment wealth becomes inevitable. It is like watching a small campfire finally catch the big logs and turn into a blaze. This is the takeoff phase. Alex's role changes from pushing the snowball to just guiding it. He stops stressing about finding every loose penny and focuses on protecting the system. When his salary jumps, he upgrades his life a little, but keeps his expenses lagging behind his income. When peers buy luxury cars they can't afford, Alex drives the reliable sedan for 2 more years. When they mock him for being frugal, he just smiles. He knows something they don't. Wealth isn't the flashy watch. Wealth is the unspent money compounding in silence. By year 10 or 11, Alex witnesses something surreal. In a bull market, the account might surge by $7,000 or $8,000 purely on gains. That is more than Alex could save in 2 full years back in his 20s. The tiny $100 bills from the start are now giants, pulling their weight. The mindset shift is total. Alex used to work for money. Now, the money works for Alex, and it never asks for a vacation. The beginning felt pointless. The middle felt slow. The end feels like cheating. So, what does this mean for you? Sitting there wondering if your $50 a month matters. Let me give you the roadmap so you don't get lost in the fog. First, realize those early years are not about the money. They are about building the character capable of holding money. You are in financial boot camp. You are training your brain to delay gratification. Even if the market went to zero, that discipline is a superpower. Second, accept that the numbers will look pathetic for a long time. That isn't a glitch, it is the design. Compounding is boring at the start so that only the patient get the rewards at the end. If it were fast, everyone would be wealthy and inflation would eat us all. Third, guard your system like your life depends on it. If you can only do $29, you defend that $29 like a fortress. When income rises, nudge it up. When life punches you in the face, pause if you must, but never kill the habit. The winners aren't the smartest. They are just the ones who survived the boredom. Boring consistency defeats exciting speculation every single time. While others chase crypto pumps or try to time the dip, the real winners are quietly buying index funds like they are paying a utility bill. Here is the hard truth. The average person starts and quits this journey 4 times. They get bored, cash out for a toy, and restart years later with nothing. Every reset deletes years of compounding that you can never buy back. It is like planting a crop, digging it up because it's too slow, and then wondering why you starve in winter. The seed wasn't the issue, your anxiety was. Alex isn't a genius. Alex isn't special. That is the whole point. Alex just refused to quit during the ghost phase when quitting made sense. So start your $100. Protect it. And remember that your future self is begging you to hold the line today. The snowball is coming, but only if you are still standing there to catch it. If this helped you see the light at the end of the tunnel, hit the like button and subscribe to Dave Invest. We are in this for the long haul. I'll see you in the next video.